Oh no, a new leak just came out, and wrestling fans, and more specifically WWE fans as part of the IWC, are really unhappy about this. And I think it's largely due to the fact that this specific leak is something that nobody really saw coming, but it does involve some major WrestleMania plans. Now, obviously, it is important to note that we are on the road to WrestleMania. Triple H has promised tons of swerves and spins along the way, and obviously, we're waiting to see what else is going to happen. A lot of people feel like this is a very unpredictable time going into WrestleMania, and a lot of people are comparing this year's build to last year's build, which I think is a little bit different considering, the whole situation with the storylines this year being different from last year. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about that plus so much more right here on the Ango Show. I want to kick things off talking about Crush. For those who don't know, Crush has been given a posthumous WWE Legends deal. At least Royce Adams, who is his son, says that he and his mom signed a posthumous WWE Legends deal for Crush. Obviously, a lot of people have kind of been wondering what was kind of what was happening here, because it is kind of confusing when somebody is no longer alive. How does it work with them getting a contract? Royce Adams actually spoke about Demolition signing the WWE Legends deals, and he said, I started seeing rumors and stuff online and all that. Oh yeah, Demolition, Legends, Axe, and Smash are on a Legends deals. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Then sure enough, I get a call, and this guy tells me, yeah, I'm with the WWE. We're trying to reach out to the family, the owners of Crush's estate. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is Royce, his son. I don't even know how he managed to find me. He tells me that he looked at the obituary of Crush, found out he had kids, me included. Then he looked me up, and he told me he saw me on Facebook, and he was like, yeah, you were really easy to track down, actually. So anyway, yeah, he reached out to me and my mom, and we agreed to sign the posthumous contract, I guess you can call it. And yeah, that's how my dad is now part of the whole Legends thing with the rest of Demolition. Obviously, for those who don't know, Crush, he obviously had a run as a member of Demolition in the WWE, but obviously, for those who didn't know, so maybe it's not so obvious, but for those who didn't know, he did pass away in 2007. Posthumous deals have been given out in the past, but to be honest with you, it's actually kind of confusing as to how they work, who actually gets paid and benefited from it. But with a posthumous Legends contract, I think what you're really going to see here is WWE obviously will have intellectual property rights. So if they want to put them in a video game or more action figures or stuff like that, I mean, they can definitely do that. This isn't necessarily out of the realm. It's just not very common that you see that happening in WWE. So it is just something to keep in mind, obviously, as time goes on. And if there's any more updates or any more Legends deals being signed, obviously I'm going to keep you guys updated on this channel because that's kind of the way we do things around here.
Now would be the best time to remind you that we have a major goal to hit 100,000 subscribers. Over 40% of the viewers who watch this channel are not subscribed. Please click subscribe if you enjoy staying educated on everything with wrestling news.
All right, guys, and that's going to bring us to our next topic. WWE is hosting tryouts in Europe, and there's actually a lot of names that have been brought up here, which are really interesting. Man like Darius, Rio, Luke Jacobs, Zozea, Golden Boy Santos, and Adam Maxted have all been invited to WWE's tryouts in Europe. Obviously, this is a big conversation because one name that is being brought up but hasn't been confirmed for an invite is Michael Oku, which you guys may remember from seeing him at AEW All In. Obviously, a big standout name in the European indie wrestling scene, and of course with Rev Pro Wrestling. But obviously, WWE is scouting new talent. They are scouting new talent while on this European tour, and obviously that's a great thing for WWE, and it is a great thing for the wrestlers in the independent scene in the UK and throughout Europe who are looking at possibly making the jump to America for a full-time contract. Obviously, it's, with WWE, situations like this typically means that they're given a tryout and then they're given that opportunity to potentially go to WWE if WWE feels like it is necessary to sign them, which is completely fine. I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that by any means. I think obviously the tryouts thing is a cool thing that WWE does. And it's actually a very interesting part of the topic too that doesn't really get brought up. But with AEW, you never hear of people trying out to get to AEW. You might hear of people being given matches in ROH as a, potential look, but you never really hear of AEW going around the globe doing tryouts and trying to recruit talent this way. Man like D. Reese just pulled up in TNA as of late, and Rio is like a very, very big indie name. A lot of people thought at one point she might be going to AEW. And then obviously Luke Jacobs and Golden Boy Santos are two names that a lot of people do often bring up, because a lot of these names in these tryouts are people that I feel like should be on the radar of WWE and of course AEW. And with this amount of great talent being invited to a tryout, it's going to be very interesting to see how WWE and what is their philosophy, right? Like how they do this and what is their philosophy surrounding this, because you can't just bring in everybody. Right? You obviously have talent coming in from AEW. You have talent from NIL. You have talent from WWE ID. When you're hosting a tryout like this, you can't bring in absolutely everybody. So what is the situation that will arise when it comes to picking some of these talents? Because honestly, they are all very talented and they could all do a really good job on American television, regardless of what company. So it seems like it's a little bit of a more interesting situation for WWE. I think WWE's recruiting efforts these days are very important to pay attention to, because it kind of signals to you what their future plans may be. And that is one of the reasons why I often pay attention to it. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. Penta, well, it involves the leaks, right? WWE has some big plans. Obviously, on today's episode of Raw, Penta's going up against Braun Breaker. However, this information that is dropped is really crazy and it's really weird. And to be honest with you, I can understand why people are a little bit blown away by it. So for those who don't know, there was some information that was gathered this past week from Fightful. And basically, the working plan within WWE Creative is to book a 4-way Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 41. Now, on this channel, we have specifically talked about different scenarios and different people that you could put in the match. Obviously, if you pay attention, you see Chad Gable, you see Ludwig Kaiser and Pete Dunne and Sheamus and all these guys in the mid-card, very, very talented people. However, this new leak actually includes Braun Breaker defending his title against Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio, which technically speaking, WWE has kind of alluded to this on television, right? With the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio specifically asking to bring Penta into the group. Obviously, Dominic Mysterio has been eyeing the Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, we have seen Finn Balor as well, which I think this makes it very interesting because Finn Balor and Dominic are going to be, you know, they're part of the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day is probably splitting up. There is a story that could be told in this specific match. But I think it's just kind of weird. You know, I have no problem with all four of these guys being in the match. I like all four guys. I really do. But at one point you tease something with AJ Styles and Braun Breaker. Now you got Penta going up against Braun Breaker. I think for WWE, if you're trying to do this multi-man match, instead of doing a fatal 4-way, I would highly encourage a 6-way match in a ladder match. And throw in 2 more guys, Ludwig and Pete Dunne or something like that. Like, I would like to see something different here. I have nothing against the 4 that are in here, but I can understand why fans are actually angry about this, because at the end of the day, there has been so much other work throughout the past year building that mid-card where it kind of almost felt like it was a given, and this kind of seems like a pivot. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.